First, I want to circle back to the subject of the panel, which was local and county models. My turf has really been statewide juvenile justice reform, working with lawmakers and administrators over many years now on trying to produce a better system, both at the CYA level, now Department of Juvenile Justice or Division or whichever it is, and at the local level. In my view, it takes money to produce innovation. And I don't want to go into a long, boring talk about money, but resources are critical if you're going to provide a better level of service for kids at the local level, whether you're talking about aftercare or mental health care or any kind of care at all. We've had a jumbled mess in California when it comes to the distribution of the resources that support those services. Historically, the state has put money into counties to kind of organize the services that can be made available, and theoretically also to lower the high cost of state incarceration and to invest in program models that are more effective and less costly at the county level. Right now we have this kind of odd fund flow state to local that supports local innovation and local programs. Two main components: the Juvenile Justice Crime Prevention Act, about $100 million a year to local county governments and probation departments, and then the old probation TANF dollars, which I won't dwell on explaining, but another $200 million a year to probation. Those are annually renewed funds, and probation never knows from year to year what's going to happen. They're always in doubt. The governor proposed slashing that first one, CJCJ, the $100 million, down to $25 million just this last budget year. That did not happen. But even a model county like Santa Cruz, and Judy Cox would be the first to admit this, would see its model starved if these funds were taken away or diverted to other uses. And so, and then Greg Jolivet mentioned sliding scale fees. These are also part of that kind of odd jumble of how money goes one way and the other, because we make counties pay for sending lower level offenders to CYA. And let's, by the way, not be mistaken, 40% of the current youth authority population today is made up of lower level 5, 6, and 7 offenders for which the counties pay. So this whole mess really does need to be organized. We need a local continuum of care that provides a stable funding source to counties and that addresses a lot of these jurisdictional and case flow issues that are not now addressed. The governor and his advisory groups took this on seriously in the wake of the lawsuit. We had a juvenile justice working group that I was a member of, and Kurt Cumley was as well. 2 other planning groups convened since then. For a year and a half, these groups have advised the administration and the governor on elements of juvenile justice reform, not just fixing the CYA, but also addressing these critical state local issues. And they came up with a wonderful list of ideas that we don't really have time to go into. The important thing is that there are no legs and there's really no plan now to implement any of these ideas. And so I want to go to this issue of the brink, and are we on the brink of great changes? I think that we were very close to making real progress and planting major reforms top to bottom of the juvenile justice system in California around last May. And some of us were told to, in the governor's working group, to expect big changes not only at CYA but state-local relations as well. It was all taken off the table just prior to the May revise in the May of 2005. Do we know why? No, we don't know why. But politically, the big reforms were basically, set aside. And we went instead into a deep planning phase at the Department of Juvenile Justice under reorganization, which has contributed nothing substantial to the reform achievement list. And that's kind of where we're stuck right now. I heard Bernie Warner, who I think is a nice guy and would really like to see things do better in California, but I heard him say it takes time. Well, some of us have waited 20 years or 30 years for reform plans that were on paper 20 and 30 years ago to come about. And I want to give Bernard Warner and the new reorg CDCR the time it needs to get its act together. But I'm a little bit tired of waiting, and I think some of us have been waltzed around with nothing to show for it over the last year and a half in a flurry of meetings that produced so far absolutely nothing. I would at least like to see some attitude out of this administration and out of these administrators. Give us something. Show us something concrete instead of endless talk. And, you know, those of us who participated in good faith in this kind of brinkmanship and expectation exercise, a lot of us are feeling pretty disappointed and depressed. And I'm not sure, you know, how I feel about going farther with this discussion process in the next year or so. The reform plans are there, they're well identified. We can expect certain achievements out of the lawsuit, but no current reform plan and nothing in the lawsuit will address and take care of this critical state and local relationship issue, which we have yet to come to grips with. I want to say just two more things. The state has stepped away from the plate. But what about the counties? You know, we say that we believe in counties as the place where innovation can occur, and counties have very different needs. Los Angeles is a city-state in juvenile justice with 1,900 juvenile camp beds. Sierra County, Alpine County, and some of the northern rural counties in California are far different places, and we have a vast kind of urban and suburban set of counties in between. And so the question is, how can we meet these county needs? Well, county people are not that eager to come up to the plate either. We offered, for example, in the context of John Burton's SB 459, judges the opportunity to take control of how long kids stay in CYA back from the state. And they passed on that opportunity. They didn't want the workload. They didn't want the job. Counties are also deeply skeptical about money and whether they'll have enough money with new mandates, particularly parole realignment, which we really need in California to produce a decent aftercare service system instead of the dysfunctional parole operation we have now. Counties worry about will they get enough bucks to make the thing work. So there are two sets of responsibilities that I think need to be met here. One, the state has to step up to the plate, and two, the counties need to be willing to negotiate and come to grips with the issues. Finally, there's something that I worry about. I mean, I don't think that the CYA is going to be fixed tomorrow, and we have no reasonable expectation that major reforms are going to happen soon. Certainly new facilities are not going to come along soon. So counties now need to get used to coming up with their own responses. One is not to send kids to CYA. But if you don't send kids to CYA, what are you going to do? I have one specific worry, which is we have built massive new juvenile hall space in California. We're adding about 3,000 new juvenile camp and ranch beds, and we're almost finished with these construction projects. There's a lot of pressure now to use those facilities as commitment programs to house potential CYA kids or other kinds of kids in local programs. Juvenile halls typically are not good program environments. If we convert those spaces to incarcerate kids who might otherwise go to DJJ-CYA, or if we widen the net and put other kids in those spaces, what will be the level of program quality? I would counsel all of you who work in counties to be on the lookout for this development and to get engaged in the discussion about what these commitment programs, if they enlarge, whether they're camps or juvenile halls, what they look like and how good they will be. Finally, my final word is leadership. Where is the leadership to make things happen? I love the statement this morning that if Texas can do it and if Louisiana can do it, then California can do it. But it takes leadership, and that leadership now has to come, I don't think so much from inside the CDCR, but really at the highest level from our governor. Governors make things happen, and I would call upon him to make it happen in California. Thank you.